there's a lot of fitness professionals out there that are not well versed in that, and there's a lot of fitness professionals. So finding one that's really well versed in using this tool specifically for those goals is usually the challenge. Welcome everybody to the Black Iron Fitness Podcast. I am your host, Jason Reyes, owner-operator of Black Iron Fitness, and you can find me on the YouTube channel, this YouTube channel, Black Iron Barbell. So, the purpose of today's episode is just very briefly to talk about the universality of the barbell for the vast majority of people's fitness. And it's not to say that it's the only way, and it's not necessarily that it's the best way, but it is extremely reliable. It's simple and straightforward. It's available in so many different places. You can have it in your home. You can find it at a gym. You can go to your local CrossFit box or personal training studio, and oftentimes you'll find a barbell in a rack. And it can be applied to so many different aspects of fitness. Whether you're looking to lose weight and maintain your muscle mass, whether you're looking to build muscle and keep your body fat in check, or if you're somebody who's looking to increase your strength and stay at the same body size, whether you're an endurance athlete who's training in the off season and supplementing their endurance training, a jiu-jitsu athlete who's doing the same, a father, a mother, a police officer, a nurse, young, old, male, female, it doesn't matter. The barbell could, and in some cases, and perhaps it should, be at the center of your training program. The good news is it doesn't require a ton of fancy machines for a lot of people. Now, if you're a competitive bodybuilder or a competitive athlete that has a very specialized need, yeah, you might need some specialized equipment. But a simple barbell, rack, some steel plates, a bench will get the vast majority of you out there where you need to go. You can cover all planes of motion, horizontal pushing movements like a bench press, horizontal pulling movements like a row. You can cover your lower body training with a hinge pattern like the deadlift, or a squat pattern like the back squat, front squat, overhead squat. Your horizontal and vertical your vertical pressing and your vertical pulling patterns of the overhead press and the chin all can be accomplished with this relatively simple piece of equipment, which means the body's movement patterns are pretty much covered, with the exception of some rotational patterns, which you can certainly work in there. You can work in various rep ranges and intensities. So if you want to work in rep ranges that are going to build muscular endurance for things like jiu-jitsu and endurance training, triathlon, etc., cycling, running, or if you wanted to work in rep ranges that are going to target better bodybuilding, or either mass retention, lean mass retention, muscle retention, or muscle building, the barbell can be used for that. And if you want to gain strength and you're going to work in those higher intensities and those lower rep ranges, like the 1 to 6 rep range and the 70 to 97% intensity range, it can do that. It's not just for CrossFitters. It's not just for collegiate athletes. It's not just for powerlifters. It's truly a very versatile, nearly universal piece of equipment. And that's why I center my training around barbell training. Black iron training, if you will. Now, this isn't a plug for me, but this is a plug for the barbell. The problem with the barbell is there's not a lot of really good barbell coaches out there. There's more now thanks to CrossFit and the spillover that it had into Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting, even strength lifting. But there's still way more professionals, fitness professionals out there that are not well versed in coaching training programs formal training programs. We have an organization of reps, sets, intensities, frequency. There's a lot of fitness professionals out there that are not well versed in that, and there's a lot of fitness professionals. So finding one that's really well versed in using this tool specifically for those goals is usually the challenge. But like I said, thankfully there's a lot more of them out there. Again, spillover from CrossFit into Olympic lifting, into powerlifting. And the good news is you can train with those people just about any place now because of the virtual environment, you know? So I write programs for people that I never actually do in-person work with. We communicate via email. We communicate over the internet through the True Coach platform or through the RTS platform that I use, or some of the endurance athletes even. I can work through Training Peaks, which is a remote program platform, where I'll design programs for people and I'll either read the data off of their devices or I'll look at videos of them performing their lifts and their exercises. I'll give them feedback. I'll make program adjustments. I'll build new programs for them. I'll do communication back and forth that way, and never really have much conversation with them enough, aside from the initial setup and the occasional, touch point over Zoom as a check-in or something like that. Or I can sit here in my studio with these triple screens all set up with a Zoom camera mounted to the top, and I can watch you log in from your home gym or from your local big box gym where you've got your iPhone set up and you've got your Bluetooth headphones and you've got yourself set up at a rack or wherever it is that you're working for the day. And we can actually coach, because quite frankly, good coaching doesn't take much hands-on. It's more about using the voice and communication to coach movement. So I meet with people virtually here all the time. There's some coaches that are out there doing it pretty well. I've been doing this pretty exclusively now since COVID, but I was even doing this prior to COVID. Nobody wanted to take me up on it. And then COVID hit, and suddenly I had a lot more interest in it, and thankfully I had a leg up on it. I had a couple years worth of experience of doing it prior to actually having to go live with it as my main business model. My point is that getting access to good quality coaches for barbell training, whether any one of those pursuits that I just mentioned, is available to you, and it's relatively easy to get access to now. Finding them is a little bit more difficult, right? You need to know the difference between somebody, because let's face it, when COVID came out, suddenly everybody was an online coach. And I've been working in the fitness industry for a long time, so I have a lot of contacts here in the local community. I used to be a fitness manager and a multi-unit manager for one of the largest East Coast big box gym franchises. Not even a franchise, public entities. And so I knew personal trainers, good and bad, group exercise instructors, because I was a group exercise instructor, yoga instructors, and suddenly all these people that I know were simply spin instructors, yoga instructors, boot camp instructors, I'll give them a little bit of a break, were suddenly experienced online personal trainers. So they're out there every place, and they didn't go away. So in today's day and age, finding a proper barbell coach that can coach you using this tool, which is so phenomenal, could be tough. But I encourage you to find that person. And I encourage you to experience the barbell, because it is a phenomenal tool. It's incrementally loadable, almost infinitively. Like, for example, I have a 15-pound barbell that if you can't squat with a standard 45-pound barbell, you could start with that. Heck, you could start with one of the PVC dowels that I've got. Right? If you can't squat below parallel, you can start by getting up off of a chair. But eventually we move to that dowel, and then that 15-pound barbell, and then we load that until we get to the 33-pound barbell, and then we load that until we get to the 45-pound barbell. And you continue on that path, and next thing you know, you've got a full body weight squat that you've accumulated in 4 to 6 months. Right? Which is really fun. It's really fun to take people from a place of thinking that they can't do anything to doing things that they never would have been able to imagine. And again, this goes to stand for all of those different realms. So before you go chasing down all sorts of fancy, shiny, complicated stuff, why not try something simple? I didn't say easy notice, because anything is going to take a tremendous amount of dedication. You know, and by tremendous amount, I might be saying just making sure that you show up 2 days a week for 4 to 6 months. And if you can't do that, guess what? There is nothing out there that's going to work for you. But I would argue, if you do that with a barbell, and you compare that to what you might do with other implements, I would venture to guess that you will see far greater changes using the barbell. Again, because it's something that can be very, very specifically controlled, right? You would have a very hard time developing a significant squat pattern or deadlift pattern with a kettlebell, because of the simple fact that it's going to be really tough to hold something in your hands and in your arms that's heavy enough to actually challenge your lower body to get to its strength potential. Your arms are going to give out way before. Your hands and your grip are going to give out way before your hips, legs will, right? And how do you micro load a kettlebell? Now, yeah, they've got a bunch of little fractional plates that you can throw on them now, but I've got, for $30, a set of fractional plates that come in denominations as low as 1/4, which means if we needed to make an adjustment to a load to keep you working at the right intensity with that 15-pound bar, I could easily go to 15.5 pounds by putting a 1/4-inch plate on each side, right? How many sets of kettlebells would you have to be able to make such small adjustments? Dumbbells even. And don't get me wrong, if you see my gym, I've got kettlebells, I've got dumbbells, I've got sandbags, I've got all the fun toys, strongman equipment like stones and logs. But, you know, those are fun to have, but they're not quite as easy to work with in terms of sticking to a relatively structured, intelligently designed program. So that's my PSA, or my pitch and my endorsement for barbell training. Do me a favor, if you got something out of this video, do all the things you're supposed to do. Subscribe to my channel, put the bell notification on, leave a comment below, let me know if you like this, didn't like it, tell me a little bit about the quality. I'll work on improving quality for you. You know, obviously follow me all the places that I am on Instagram at Black Iron Fitness Company, Facebook, right here on YouTube as well. The one thing that it could really help me the most, if you found any value in this and you want to do the equivalent of tipping the, I don't know, the guy who drives your car at the car wash, send this video to just one person, you know, and ask them to watch it. And next time I have a video come out, you know, if you don't want to watch the full thing, just put it on and just let it run. Sorry about the dog. Yeah, I'm going to have to come up with a tagline, so at some point in the future I'll come up with something snazzy to say. But until next time, folks, I'm going to leave you with this. Keep training.